Thank you very much, Verna. Now I'm here with Minority Leader in the Tobago House of Assembly, Mr. Watson Duke, ahead of his swim protest. Approximately an hour or two from now, he will take to sea, but we just want to find out in terms of his preparation what it has been like. Good morning, Mr. Duke.
Good morning, Pat.
Could you tell us basically what went into preparing for the protests today?
Long before I arrived on the scene, long before I was even conceptualized by my father and my mother, Tobago was preparing for a day like this. From 1889, when Tobago became unwillingly a ward to Trinidad, Tobago has been preparing itself for a day when they would have the right to take center stage and say to Trinidad, we want our voice back. The swim is simply a demonstration to Trinidad that, look, you have not provided for our constitutional right to be enforced by us, which is the right to enjoy the freedom of movement from point A to point B, given the fact that someone could wake up in San Fernando this morning and plan on reaching in Port of Spain for 10 o'clock. We can't do the same here. Because even if you have a ticket for the boat, a ticket for the plane, there is no guarantee that it will leave on time or you will even be taken. So considering all things and the recent statements and actions by the Prime Minister and the Minister of Works, I have been prepared and I've been catapulted to the front to bring national and regional attention, perhaps international attention, to the fact that Tobago has been treated unfairly, and for 125 years, Trinidad has been making decisions for us on the air and the sea bridge. It's now time to have Tobago House of Assembly, which is the body responsible for the air and sea bridge, to decide on those matters and say, look, we hear you, but this boat doesn't meet the specifications of the people we represent. So I've been prepared based on Tobago being prepared to speak.
In terms of your fitness level and all of that, because we know swimming in this water would take a lot. In terms of that kind of preparation, what would have gone into preparing you physically for this challenge?
I was born prepared. Like when I was conceptualized again, I spent 9 months swimming, eating, sleeping, kicking, fighting, stroking in my mother's womb. And then they introduced me to land and had to teach me how to walk around, how to breathe out here. So I'm just going back to that stage, you know. I mean, we grew up in a fishing village called Roxborough. And in Roxborough, you have to learn to swim. It's just part of your daily diet. Swimming is part of your daily diet. And now I'm forced to go back to my hometown and practice again. Last time I got some practice was Thursday. And we swam about a mile, nautical miles out in the sea for about an hour. So we are doing our thing, right? It's not about a race. It's not about being fit. It's about purpose. And every stroke that I make, every stroke that every swimmer make, they will be doing that with Tobago's voice in mind. We need to have Tobago speaking with Trinidad as equal partners.
There are persons, Tobagonians, who are making a mockery of what you intend to do and who are perhaps laughing at what you intend to do. What do you have to say to those persons in particular?
I wish them well. It doesn't deter me. It doesn't break my spirit. Remember, the most serious man this world has ever known was Christ. And he was mocked at when he was on the cross. They said, you have saved others. Why not save yourself? You know, and they ask him, you are the king of the Jews? People always mock at every single thing. That's life. You can't stop that. But I use negativity as wind in my sails and I become buoyant. I move, I progress with negativity around me. So tomorrow, the swim is on, and the naysayers, they will have to judge at the end of the day. But it is done to bring attention to the issue in Tobago, the sea bridge and the air bridge.
What kind of medical attention, medical personnel can we expect on hand when you set swimming?
Well, TEMA would be there. They have their own medical personnel. All hospitals would be on high alert because when you have people swimming in the ocean, you know they are amateur swimmers, which I am. You will somewhat want to be on alert that anything could happen. The reality out there is just that. Anything could happen tomorrow. So we are not going to work with any special kind of doctor, nurses on board, but they are person with safety training, emergency response training will be present and available, rescue divers, etc. But at the end of the day, the nation owes us that service to protect us.
And you said it would not be you alone, obviously not. Could you give us an idea of who else would be participating in this protest with you?
Well, Tobago Fisher Folk Association, right? They will be ever present. These fishermen will be present. We have ordinary guys who are just fed up and tired of being placed as second-class citizen in a nation that ought to be one. They would be there. And then husband and wives who are just tired of looking at this thing as a laughing matter. They want to be serious. They will come out. We are saying to people, if you can't make this swim, just come and take the water and wet your head. Symbolic, and it will be enough to say to them that we are thinking of having our own voice on matters that could have serious implications. Now, let me say this. At the end of the day, we represent the minority in Tobago. So if you don't see a whole bunch of people out here, don't feel any way. It's a minority we represent. The majority of persons seems to be happy with the silence of the chief secretary. He represents the majority, and apparently he's getting praise from it. We are the minority. It's trouble. The moment the minority begin to represent the majority, there is trouble in the camp. And we hope that will happen very soon.
Expert divers, a few of them have come forward saying that this is madness. This is not humanly possible. What do you have to say to those people, those experts?
Well, when Einstein made the light bulb, persons were saying he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. But then it was done. So not because there are challenges out there for an experienced swimmer doesn't mean an amateur can't do it. I mean, we will employ by any means necessary. And we are going forward with strong heart, more purpose than they. They will have the purpose of making a record. Our purpose is giving Tobago a voice. And I'm certain, as light follows day, that we would make it. It may not be all swimming because there are some dangerous currents. We may have to take a boat ride over those dangerous currents. But certainly, we will swim.
Best of luck, Mr. Duke.
Thank you very much, Pat.
And that was Minority Leader in the Tobago House of Assembly, Mr. Watson Duke, ahead of his swim protest to begin at 8 a.m. today.